Hey guys, what's up? Dingo Crikey here with another Transformers commentary video, and this one is going to be number 8 in my Transformers 5 Q&A series. And I can't believe there are already 8 of these, but you guys seem to like the Q&A videos, so thanks for the views, thanks for the support, and as always, if you have questions, feel free to submit them in the comment section below, as this time, you have a pretty good amount of questions with all of the news about Transformers 5, the logo, the face reveal, all of that kind of stuff. But real quick, if you're new to this type of video, just keep in mind it's kind of a more casual video where I take up a few questions that I've gotten on the comment section in my video, kind of answer them, give my thoughts on them. If the commenter left any of their thoughts or any cool theories, read them off as well, discuss some community theories, and if there's news on any of the topics being discussed, I will talk about that too, but overall it's kind of an informal video. Anyways, let's get to the first question. It comes from user Maximus Prime, and his comment reads, "Do you think the last Knight could be Magnus?" So this is kind of an interesting question in regards to what I've seen going on in the community, whether in the comment section of my videos, on message boards, because initially I figured, the last Knight has to be Optimus. That just makes the most sense. It looks like we have Optimus on the picture, but I have seen a lot of people discussing the idea that the last Knight may in fact not be Optimus at all, could be a totally different character, whether that be Maximus Prime, maybe Magnus, as a lot of people really want to see him appear in the films. Despite all of this, I'm pretty keen on the idea that the last Knight is referring to Optimus Prime. I mean, I guess there's a chance that could be referring to another character, and the promo we've seen of Optimus does look a little ambiguous. We're not sure if that's really him or not. Does look a little bit evil, but I doubt that's Magnus. Now, he could still be the last Knight. Maybe that's just not him they're showing. I don't think so at this point. I think there's still a chance Magnus could appear in the films. At this point, it's all just speculation. Personally, I think the greatest chance for Magnus' appearance is if he's to show up on Earth, and kind of similar fashion to how he did in Transformers Animated, but more like mirroring the storyline we had in G1, whereas in G1 spoilers here, Optimus dies, and then we kind of have characters such as Magnus and Rodimus take the spotlight. I think they're kind of pushing Optimus out of the story, well, at least out of the Earth part of the story, in a different way without having him die, and maybe leaving his position open to be filled with characters such as Magnus or Rodimus as a new group of Autobots who shows up on Earth. And as always, people do bring up the fact that the films don't have to follow the Generation 1 storyline. That's very true, but right now, that's the main source of information we can go to for possibilities with the story, because certain things in Age of Extinction do kind of line up. For example, I guess you could see the old cast being killed off, Leadfoot, Ratchet, similar to how the Season 1 and Season 2 cast was killed off in the 1986 film and replaced by a new cast of Autobots, be it different characters, but it's still a kind of similar setup. Also, we have Megatron being revived as Galvatron in this same time frame, and also we're being introduced to this idea of the Transformers creators, who were the Quintessons in Generation 1. Hence, if anything, I'm thinking Magnus will probably show up as, with the introduction of Galvatron, introduction of the Quintessons, kind of lines up with when he showed up in Generation 1. Now, it's still pretty loose, kind of a stretch, I do understand that. That's really my best theory as far as Magnus' introduction at this point. I don't think he's going to be a Prime. I don't think he's going to be the last Knight, anything like that. I think he'll just be like some high-ranking Autobot and something of the sorts. In any case, I think I would like to see Magnus in the films. As always, it's a little bit of a worry, whether or not they're going to screw up the character or not. But if they make him sort of like his Generation 1 character, the comic book character, him in Transformers Animated, any one of those renditions, personally, I really liked him in Generation 1. From what I see, he seems cool in the comics, and in Animated, he's a pretty cool character too. And for me, I'd be totally open to them having sort of a new take on his character as well, as long as they make him a good character. But in a case like his, I kind of would prefer something that homaged his character, because he's not like a character such as Optimus, who's really overdone. We don't get Magnus a whole lot, so seeing like a G1 Magnus as far as personality and stuff in the films would be cool. Also, he's like a bigger Transformer, big, tough dudes, probably would have sort of a Prime look to him, like Optimus and Sentinel. So I'd really like to see the design they could come up with for him, the toy. Anyways, personally, I'd like to see Ultra Magnus. I think there's a chance he could appear in the films. I don't think he's going to be a Prime or a Knight. Anyways, next question comes from user Cameron Huggins. His comment reads, "He may die again like in the original 80s cartoon, and the creators use Dark Energon to make him obey, and Rodimus will take charge." So it's more of a comment than a question, but I thought it was worth addressing, as it seems to be another popular idea that Optimus is going to be corrupted in some way, most likely by the creators, and maybe turned into Nemesis Prime, or just turned evil and go against the rest of the Autobots. Now, a few weeks back before we had this news, I did actually do a theory video on what if Optimus was turned into Nemesis Prime by the Quintessons at the end of Transformers 5, and hence, kind of a cliffhanger for Transformers 6. I'm not going to get too in-depth here. If you want to hear the theory, you can check the video out. And I was just kind of discussing it as a fun theory, as we were going through kind of a news lull, didn't have a whole lot to discuss, and now I do see a whole lot of people discussing that idea that, we could see Optimus become Nemesis Prime, maybe even in Transformers 5. I was thinking for Transformers 6, but it does seem to be quite popular right now as far as an idea goes, and that video's actually gotten a lot more views, so that's pretty cool for me. But as far as the Optimus turning evil thing, I just had kind of done the theory video for fun, but now I'm thinking, like, with the way that picture looks, also the kind of Darth Vader-esque sound, like Darth Vader breathing in the background, it does kind of seem like there might be, some evil Optimus, like Nemesis Prime as a separate character, or maybe we could see Optimus become evil in the film. That's what the picture implies. Now, it could just be a teaser picture. Maybe everyone's reading it wrong. Maybe they were trying to get something else across there. At this point, I'm a little bit torn on my thoughts on this one. I'm a little bit biased toward the idea of him becoming Nemesis Prime because, I'm a pretty big Nemesis Prime fan, at least fairly, and I like the idea of Optimus becoming him, and, this new teaser makes it seem fairly probable, but at the same time, they could just be trying to throw us off. It's just a little bit of information, and are they going to do something that dark as turning Optimus evil and potentially against the rest of the Autobots? I mean, especially if he went as far to kill one of them, that's pretty dark for really the films at any point, and also where we think Transformers 5 may be wanting to take the films in a lighter direction, as has been hinted with a lot of the recent Transformers marketing, that really wouldn't jive well with that feel. So whether it's just kind of a misleading picture, whether they're just taking some artistic liberties and making Optimus's eyes purple, I don't think we're going to see him become Nemesis Prime. I hope so, but I'm just going to kind of err on the side of caution where I'm going to say I don't think he will become him. The purple eyes are really weird, though. I do think there's something up there. Maybe he's going to get upgraded. Maybe in Star Wars terms, he's going to be tempted by the dark side. Really not sure there. I'm sure people have a bunch of different theories on this. You can, of course, drop them off in the comment section below. As far as the Rodimus part of the question, like I said, I think it's probable we could see Rodimus in Transformers 5 maybe show up with Ultra Magnus. We are getting Rodimus in the Titans Return line. We had him in the Combiner Wars line, too, so they're using that character a lot. Rodimus, Hot Rod, same thing. In either case, I don't think we're going to see him take over as, the lead position like Optimus used to have in the films. If anything, I think Bumblebee might get his voice back and we could see him take up that role, just because I don't see Rodimus being a character people are initially going to become attached to, because, we've already grown to, well, at least a lot of people grown to Optimus and Bumblebee through the films. Just throwing Rodimus in there probably wouldn't sit well. It definitely didn't work with the 1986 film in Season 3, as they, spoilers, ended up bringing Optimus back in the second half of the series. I do think he'll show up. I just don't think he'll be a main focus, but I'm sure people have a bunch of different theories on that too. A lot of people think Rodimus is going to be the next big Transformers character, and they are marketing him a lot, so you never really know. Next question comes from user Zachary Koslick, and his comment reads, "Hi Dingo Crikey, I would like to ask you to do a video on this. The new Transformers title is The Last Knight, and in Transformers 4 Optimus says recognize one of your knights, and before that he got the sword that looks exactly like what it does in the title for the new movie, and if you noticed, it had ancient Cybertronian symbols on and looked like the ones that were in ROTF. So maybe Grimlock will be the main protagonist in the film, but then Knight means Prime and Optimus is the last Prime." So, thanks for the comment. I'm not really sure what your question was exactly here, but I think you bring up some interesting things, and, I figured I would kind of discuss some of this stuff anyways. So, one thing that the comment mentioned is the similarity in the sword's title to the one he had in Age of Extinction. At least I think that's what he was trying to say. I don't really see that resemblance. I was kind of looking at the sword we see in the title and the one in Age of Extinction, and they look pretty different to me. For example, the actual blade of the sword is pretty thin on the one we see in the title, and it's a relatively thick blade on his actual sword in Age of Extinction. Also, the guard of the sword, around the handle looks kind of different as well. I think it's supposed to still symbolize Optimus' sword, or maybe a new sword he's going to have. Either way, his whole connection to the Knights. But personally, I thought the sword designs look quite different. Maybe that's just my take on it. Also mentions the Cybertronian writing on the sword that looks similar to the text we see in Revenge of the Fallen, and from what I can tell, they do look very, very similar, which is cool that they're keeping some amount of consistency. As far as Grimlock being the main protagonist, I definitely don't see this being the case in Transformers 5 for a number of reasons. One, if he's going to interact with the other characters, I mean, he's like 10 times bigger than all of them, so that would be really awkward. Also, I don't think Grimlock really works well in a lead role. I can't think of many stories where he's really been. I mean, he did have a focus in Fall of Cybertron. I actually haven't played much of the game, but overall, I just don't think he works as a lead. He is supposed to have some level of intelligence that we don't really see a whole lot in the films, but, it is there. He just comes off as being really stupid. But I don't think with that kind of persona he's going to be a lead. Him talking the way he does, it's kind of funny as a supporting character. If they made him the protagonist, I think it would get pretty annoying. And also, he had no development in Age of Extinction, so if they wanted to create a liking towards the character, I think they would have needed a little bit of a build-up. Personally, I'm not sure whether the Dinobots are going to be in Transformers 5 at all. I'm actually wondering, if since they call Optimus the last knight, and I think the Dinobots were supposed to be knights in Age of Extinction, are we going to see like a montage in which the Dinobots are killed in the beginning of the film by, who knows, some new Decepticons? Probably not humans. I think humans would have too much of a hard time taking them down. Something of the sort, because I'm like, last night, I'm kind of thinking it's just a general term referring to Optimus, because it sounds pretty epic. I hope not, but they might be counting on the fact people would have forgotten about the Dinobots by Transformers 5. In any case, I think it's kind of curious, and I would be interested to hear anyone's thoughts on that, because I haven't seen that discussed a whole lot, like what does the title actually mean for the Dinobots. One more comment comes from user Deadpool. His comment reads, "Didn't you notice that his nose looks like a sword," referring to Optimus, I'm guessing. And yes, I did notice this. Unfortunately, I didn't include it in my news video on it, but I thought that was kind of cool. I'm not too crazy about the over-detailed face, but I did think that too, that his face is kind of the shape of a nose, which is kind of weird. His face almost looks like a work of art by one of those great artists, I can't think of their names, where there's all these different things you notice and stuff like that. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool for an image, but for a character, I think it's just too cluttered looking. Maybe they'll tone it down in the actual movie, but nevertheless, I did think it was interesting for the picture. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this Q&A. Thanks for all the comments. Sorry I couldn't get to them all. I am going to do another one of these Transformers 5 Q&As really soon, probably next Monday, something of the sorts. So I'll try to discuss them there. I think that'll be the last Q&A I do for this bit of news, unless people have discussions on Lennox, stuff like that, because it was pretty big news, but there's not a ton to discuss there. It's just a whole lot of speculation, and I would like to get to doing some other videos outside of just the TF5 Q&As, such as Takara vs. Hasbro videos, and I would like to do some what if videos, in particular for the movies, like what if certain characters survived, what if certain characters were killed off, how things would have changed, what they might have turned out like. So hoping to have a lot more cool stuff coming, and always keeping an eye out for Transformers 5 news. Anyways, that's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys. I'll see you soon.